Hello everybody, and welcome to our fifth and final match in this friendly modern league with the blue-white Emeria deck. So, this hand is not spectacular. It can futz with their mana a bit, and we have plenty of lands. Unfortunately, one of them is our basic island. Let's see. We are on the draw, so alright, we'll try this out. It's not, well, no. We're gonna mulligan here. We're gonna mulligan because our deck doesn't do anything against a lot of decks here. And I don't want to just sit back on our heels waiting to get some interaction. So this hand is almost identical, but it does at least have a wall of omens, which I think is probably going to be more relevant than the Spreading Seas would have been. So and if everything goes according to plan, we can even Flickerwisp our wall on the following turn and draw an additional card. We're also going to draw a card here, and we get Scry. So looking for some form of interaction. All right, that is going to go to the very bottom of our library. Okay. There's that island again. Just can't get away from it. Not that the island's necessarily a bad... Well, I mean, we definitely wanted a spell there. Okay, so... this could be the Phoenix deck. Wouldn't surprise me. I think we're long overdue in this league. Or it could just be like a Jeskai Control type deck. Okay. Phoenix it is. Alright, an Emeria. So I think this Gideon will be pretty good. Ooh, Pyromancer's Ascension. Interesting. Okay. Guess now the question becomes, do we play this Gideon, or do we Flickerwisp on our Wall of Omens? I think I like... Alright, I think we're gonna go for the Gideon here. Because we can save the Flickerwisp and knock their counters off of this. For all the good that may or may not do. Let's go ahead and get this Gideon down. Now, my next question, I guess, is... I'm going to plus up just to play around the Bolt here, because we only have 2 Gideons in our deck, so it's not like we're a actual factual Gideon deck, so... Let's see... We can use a Flickerwisp to reset counters on either the Thing in the Ice or the Pyromancer's Ascension, because I'm assuming that this will come back and enters the battlefield with 4 ice counters. Okay, so yeah, we can potentially reset their counters. Now, of course, if our opponent can somehow manage to flip their thing, of course, get our Wall of Omens back, which is nice, in a sense. We are going to be looking to hit a Detention Sphere for this, because this will lose us the game, I think, pretty quickly. Alright, so we don't really have any counter magic here, and really not drawing super hot. So let's see. Do we want to get in with the Gideon, start pressuring our opponent, or tick up? I think our opponent stands a really good chance of flipping this Thing in the Ice next turn. Possibly playing several Phoenixes as they do so. But I think for now we're going to play to our inevitability, I think. And we're going to attempt to keep that Thing in the Ice down for now. And like I said, I think I'm going to save this Flickerwisp for a turn where I can knock the counters off their Ascension. Might be too late. They might already kind of go off, so to speak, and empty their hand, but Alright, so there's an Izzet Charm. Now the other thing to keep in mind is I'm not sure whether this will still have Gideon's effect on it or not when it flips. I'm not sure how that interaction works, but I guess we are about to find out. Okay, so there's a Phoenix. Alright, so there's a counter for their Pyromancer Ascension. There's a counter off of their Thing in the Ice. So, I imagine we're definitely getting flipped this turn. Interestingly enough, Flickerwisp also resets their Thing in the Ice, so that's something we could do too. But I think getting the Pyromancer Ascension is more important, because this is just going to be an engine that really lets them do it up here. Alright, so it looks like we're getting bolted. Sure. So that was 2 spells. I'm sure our opponent has another one here to return the Phoenix. Gut shot, okay. Alright, so we do have path. You know, we have ways to deal with this. I assume this, gets the Gideon. Our opponent might have another bolt in hand, in which case their Pyromancer Ascension also starts to go off. No bolt, I guess. Okay, second Gideon. Alright, so how do we want to navigate this? So since our opponent only has 1 card in hand, I think we'll start by playing the field and playing our Wall of Omens here, just to draw a card. See if we can draw into a path. That would be probably the best draw. Second Flickerwisp. Okay, so that's pretty good too. So let's see. 1 mana. I doubt they're going to be plussing on anything here. So let's play the Flickerwisp, and we're going to target the Awoken Horror, just to shrink that back down, and then we'll plus on the Phoenix. And then we're going to try to convert these Field of Ruins into plains, kind of, I think, as quickly as we can over the next couple of turns. But this definitely is dangerous here. So we will need to take care of this probably with our next Flickerwisp here. See if they find some Phoenices. The good news about bringing in Relic against this deck is that we will be able to pop the Relic probably before it gets to a point to affect their graveyard more than it will ours, most likely. Okay, so now the question is, this Flickerwisp, do we want to attack, or do we just want to keep doing what we're doing here? So let's see. I think there's a decent chance that our opponent will manage to... There's a decent chance our opponent will probably manage to flip the Thing in the Ice next turn, just because they have so many cantrips. So I think what we're going to do here is, I think we're going to field a Sulphur Falls. Steam Vents, I guess, doesn't really matter. Grab a Plains. Let's see. If we play a Flickerwisp here, we can reset. Because these, of course, will go back to our hand. They can flashback this Faithless Looting, though, which is pretty bad. So I feel like they're definitely going to flip the Thing in the Ice next turn. So why don't we go ahead and plus on the Thing. And we could Flickerwisp our Wall of Omens. but I think we're gonna reset their Pyromancer's Ascension. Or do we dig for like a sphere or something? I guess we'll flicker our wall. So we're not going to attack here. I'm going to play out Hallowed Fountain and just draw a card on our end step. Okay, Spreading Seas. It doesn't do a whole lot for us, but... Well, let's see. Next turn we can Field of Ruin. Ooh, green mana. Okay, well, we'll take care of that in short order. So what is our opponent playing green for? I wonder. Ooh, Crackling Drake, okay. Alright, so since our opponent doesn't have a whole lot of, sorry, I keep like not finishing my thoughts. Doesn't have a whole lot of cards in hand. I think we'll do this. Okay. So now, I think we'll play out of Field of Ruin, Field the Green Source, Spreading Seas the Mountain. Or do we just want to wall? Tell you what, let's start with a... I'm going to start with a Spreading Seas on there. Ah, shit. Alright, well, there's a path. Alright, so we're going to plus on that. I think we're just going to path to exile them right now. Although if they get their Phoenix back, we're going to be... We're in bad shape. Sorry about that. I know I addressed this yesterday. I actually saved my last game for Sunday, and I played all the other ones on Saturday, so... Alright, so we can play the Field of Ruin, and then play... Well, we're not going to do that because... Alright, so let's play out the field. I don't know what they can do with this green, but let's just take it off the table. Grab the plains. Fails to find. Oh, that's a great feeling. So, I think I'm going to hold the wall for a turn just to, well, no, you know what? Fails to find. We're just gonna step on the gas here. Because now we get better Swords to Plowshares. And we're just going to start getting in with this Flickerwisp. And sure, we'll tap out here. I would have really... I wanted to play that Spreading Seas on their mountain, of course. Alright, so now their Ascendancy is live. So I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to need to reset this. Because it's going to become a huge problem. Which will be fine, because our opponent's going to very kindly return all of our creatures to our hand. So they will, of course, unlock their Phoenix in the process. But we'll get this figured out. Really, we just need to get that. Just need to get this Emeria online, and then I just don't think they'll be able to win through returning blockers every turn, plus our active Gideon. And we have another Gideon in reserve here. Opponent is certainly getting to cast all the spells, though. Guess we can yield through this turn. Alright, so our opponent did manage to find another... Oh. Okay, that was my turn. Our opponent did not attack for whatever reason. That was strange. Okay. Whoops. So I don't think that's going to do a whole heck of a lot here. So we'll prevent on that. Now, do I want to Court Hussar and try to hit... I think I want to Court Hussar for a sweeper, because I think we're going to need that before too long here. You know what? Sun Titan might be fine too. Let's see. Is it worth? I don't think it's worth shocking for a card that we can't really do anything with, so alright. Now, it's quite possible that our opponent will be able to just immediately put their counters back on to this Pyromancer's Ascension, but again, I think it's pretty important that we try and slow them down. Okay, that's too bad. So Gideon's going to go down here. Fortunately, we do have a replacement Gideon, actually, with our Sun Titan. When we cast our Sun Titan next turn, we can just get get our Gideon back. So I think we're right on the cusp of turning this game around here. Although unfortunately our opponent does have their Ascension back, so Settle the Wreckage will be great in this matchup. Okay, Bolt to the face. Copy a Bolt, yeah. I wonder if our opponent will bother with the Gideon, or if they're just going to try to get us here. Fortunately, we haven't drawn a lot of removal this game. Looks like they're going for us. Maybe. Okay. Face it is then. Let's see. Okay, so Lone Missionary is good. Play double Lone Missionary. That will buy us a little bit of time here. Although if they find a bolt, we're pretty dead. Gain some life. Let's play out another Missionary, I guess. Gain some life. Now, do I want to? I think I want to look for a path here. Or again, I'm still in the market for a sweeper, I think. So, so if we can manage to survive another turn, I think we will be in a good spot here. Opponent has one card in hand. Alright, face it is. So if they have a bolt, of course they just get us. That sucks. That sucks. Okay. I don't think Jace is good here. Crucible's probably a little eh. Wall of Omens doesn't really block very well. So let's go down the walls. Actually, you know what? Wall's probably better than Spreading Seas in terms of that plan. So, do we want to bring in... you know what? They're actually kind of basic land light, so I think I will keep the Crucible in. I think we'll bring in some number of Negate. But what to cut? The Detention Spheres are nice because I don't think they really have a way to remove those. Maybe Celestial Purge only hits. I didn't bring the Relics in yet either. I'm going to cut Phantasmal Image because they have a lot of targeted removal. Do I want to pull in 2 Negates or the Relics? Like the Court Hussar. Maybe we do cut the Wall of Omens. Bring in a couple Relics. And again, I'm bringing in the Relics just because I want to try to catch their Phoenixes before they return them to their deck. Or sorry, return them to play. So let's do this and see what happens. And yeah, we'll play first. 1 land, Relic. Oh no. Alright. Also a little behind on clock here, so I'm going to have to try and speed it up a little bit. Hopefully this wall can find us a 3rd land so we can get into this Court Hussar, can set us up for this Verdict. Path is a nice pickup. Okay, not a land, but it's a card that did a huge amount of work for us last game. Is this their Ascension? Metamorphose, okay. I wonder what they're playing the green for. I wonder if they have like a Tarmogoyf sideboard plan or something. Okay. Oh, goodness. Okay. So we'll play that out. Not sure how many hits I want to take from this Phoenix. So alright, we'll just do this. I kind of want to save this path for a thing in the ice, if possible. Although I guess Phoenix is a better target for path. Disregard. Opponent might be looking for land. playing against this deck, just with all the cantrips and everything, it really feels like a legacy deck almost. That's not to say that I don't think that Modern has the tools to keep it under control, but all right, so let's Hussar here. Yeah, Emeria. Oh shoot, we already had an Emeria in play. That was horrible. Should have got a Field of Ruin. Can I undo? Undo? No, guess not. Because I really don't think they have a way to remove our lands at all, so... Oh, I thought it was legendary land. That's strange. Cool. Good to know. So at least this way we get to keep up. We get to keep up our planes here for the path to exile. This looks like our opponent might be looking for a way to dump some birds here. Coming up. If our opponent doesn't commit anything to the board here, I might... Okay, there's a Crackling Drake in the graveyard. I might just path this Phoenix and then start attacking. Alright, so it looks like I smell some birds here. No birds. Our opponent's just kind of spinning their wheels a bit. So they have 1, 2, 3 Faithless Lootings in their graveyard. Flame Slash on the wall, okay. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of this bird, and then we're just going to start crushing some face. And our opponent only plays like 3 or 4 basics, I think, so. We have a Supreme Verdict here as an emergency reset. Oh, okay, sure. So now he or she will see our subtle wreckages, I guess, which is too bad, but and her hand is not great, but I wonder what they were trying to hit with that. Maybe they were thinking they could get our Emeria somehow or something. I'm not sure. Alright, so let's giddy up here. And I think we're just going to press our advantage. We'll play this Flickerwisp, target the Court Hussar. Let us anticipate again. So he will go away, of course, but that's okay. Ooh, so second Court Hussar or a Settle Wreckage. So we've got one. We only have 2 planes. Why don't I go with the Settle? This will allow us to get a little aggressive, I think. So our opponent has already been through half of their deck. And they still do not have any more birds in their graveyard, but they do have a ton of Faithless Lootings. Opponents cast one spell here, so they flash back a looting and then play something else. They might find what they need. But at this point, if it's a race, I mean, with this Settle the Wreckage, I think we stand a good chance of winning that race. Notably, our opponent also failed to remove the Path to Exile from our graveyard, but I don't think that matters too much. Alright, so our opponent's playing Blood Moon as well. Also good to know. I believe we brought in the Enchantment Destruction spell to deal with that, but... or Celestial Purge, rather. Alright, so hopefully this... hopefully they don't have a bolt. Looks like they do. Alright, that's too bad, but such is life. Field of Ruin. Okay. Faithless Looting again. Opponent has gone through almost their entire deck. And we've caught up to them on clock. Okay. There we go. There is a bird. I think I'm going to hold this Settle. Maybe that's greedy. I don't know. One, two, three, four. Oh, he attacked our Gideon. Okay. So let's see. We'll get in there, put our opponent to 2, and we're just going to hold up the Settle the Wreckage this turn. We're just going to try and just sneak over the line. So I think the only counter magic they play is the is it Charm? Okay, so three basics it is. I don't see any additional ones in there. Oh no, that's not true. 4 basics. Okay. So I see 2 Blood Moons in there. Bolt to Gideon. Okay. The Emeria is not really what we want. Ooh. I think this is just lights out, right? This Hussar also just wins in 2 turns if they can't kill it. Just hard cast. Ooh, Crackling Drake. That's pretty good. But I guess we'll just cast this Supreme Verdict and then follow it up with the Sun Titan. Fortunately, we've just drawn all of our Emerias and not too many of our planes this game. But that's fine. Ooh, Cardcast, Arclight Phoenix, okay. So I'm just going to get a basic planes here, just in case they find... Oh, baby. Wall of Omens, yeah. It's a consideration, I guess, for next turn. Yeah, we'll do that. Prevent on that. And pass turn. Alright. They're going for it. I mean, I guess if they can find another Phoenix here, they can pressure the Gideon, but they are showing us like their entire deck. Looks like they played 2 Crackling Drakes. Alright, so they've got two Crackling Drakes, 2 Phoenices. They're going to run out of cards to juggle back with their... Yeah, I can't imagine our opponent can deal enough damage to us. How many bolts do they have left? I see 3 bolts in the yard. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, so looks like they're going to try and double block our Titan. Which I think we just let them do. Attack. They double block our Titan, we kill both of the Phoenices. They don't even have... They have 2 cards in hand, 2 cards in their deck. Okay, so there's a lone Missionary. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to prevent on one of these. We're going to attack. Going to get back our Hussar. Yes. We're going to grab a Negate, I guess. Okay, we're going to block. Now, do we play a... I think we play a lone Missionary here just to completely prevent any shenanigans. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll just hold up this Negate in case our opponent tries to do anything strange. Lightning Bolt our Titan. Nah. They're trying to piece it together. Okay. Let's see. I don't think we want to change anything out of our sideboard. Damping Sphere is an interesting thought. You know, maybe this is worth bringing in. But maybe it's just too slow, especially on the draw. If they get an active Ascension going, it also kind of slows them down a little bit. You know what? Maybe I do like that. Let's cut a wall and cut a lone Missionary for 2 of these, I guess. Again, I think we just need to slow them down long enough to allow our engine to take over the game. Okay, so 2 lands, but with no way to... Yeah. Alright. I think this is alright. All we need to do is draw 1 more land by the following turn. and we're in good shape. It's hard to pass on double settle. Okay. I think we're going to probably end up shocking that anyway, so we'll just get it out of the way now. Now again, it is very possible that our opponent will manage to flip their thing in the ice this turn. Fortunately, we do have a Detention Sphere or a Gideon to back that up. I'm going to yield here, save time on our clock, because if our opponent's going to be attacking with this, we're not going to be blocking with it anyway this turn. Love the art on this. Wooded foothills. Onslaught fetches are so nice. Alright, so it looks like our opponent is not going to manage to get Phoenicides in play or flip their thing this turn, so I think we will go ahead and get down this Gideon. And they can still block with this, so there's no point in attacking. Nope, no attacks. Next turn, having Settle the Wreckage up feels pretty good. Okay, Crackling Drake. Sure. Damping Sphere. Alright, so let's think for a second here. So if they have a counterspell, it feels really bad to try and play around the Drake here. So I think what we'll do here, I really want to save these for something else, but since our opponent is tapped out, I think we're going to go ahead and just stick to the plan here, plus on this, and we will consume their Drake with the Detention Sphere. And again, our opponent shouldn't have any way to remove that, so we will just keep on keeping on here. And our Flooded Strand will get us a second basic Plains, so that we can cast a Settle the Wreckage through a Blood Moon if our opponent has one of those. So, yep. Go ahead, send that back to our hand. I think next turn, assuming our opponent does not put a bunch of stuff in the graveyard here, next turn I think we'll just go Lone Missionary Dampening Sphere, sorry. They do have a Faithless Looting they can flash back. And they have a ton of mana at their disposal. Okay, so there's the Blood Moon. Again, we're not too phased by that. So our opponent now has no blue mana. Ooh, and we naturally draw another Plains. Yeah, that seems pretty good. So gain 4 more life. Hold down their Awoken Horror. Play a Damping Sphere. And play a Plains. If our opponent doesn't make blue mana here in this turn, what we might do is we might try and get them to attack Actually, you know what? I could Flickerwisp their Awoken Horror next turn. Ooh, Pyromancer. Okay. So that's a little dangerous, but I think we'll just do that. Prevent on the Pyromancer. Pass the turn. I guess I could have got in there with the guess I could have got in with the Lone Missionary. Let's try and think of a way that we can take advantage of our opponent not having access to blue mana right now. Okay, so there's a bolt on the Flickerwisp, right? Because I feel like we can still lose this game relatively easily if we're not careful. Surgical Extraction on our Flickerwisp, sure. So they will unfortunately get one out of our hand, and they will know about this double Settler Wreckage, but if we can keep this Gideon in play. Now, once again, they did not take the Flickerwisp out of our graveyard. Field of Ruin. So our Titans are now online. So we'll just go ahead and plus here. And this will give our, if we settle the Wreckage, it will give our opponent blue mana, so we'll just need to be, I think our opponent's probably going to end up timing out here. Ooh, Flame Slash. Okay. So that might incentivize them to attack with quite a few creatures. But depending on how they attack here, oh baby, oh baby. Yes, this will give him blue mana, but I don't think I'm going to pass that up, so. Okay, opponent also does have an active Ascension. So that's kind of bad news. But we got a relatively healthy life total. We still have 4 Path to Exiles in our deck. Don't think we can respond to anything here, so. No, that's not true. We do have Settle the Wreckage. Is he gonna... Okay, so he's going on the Turbo. Turbo get the cards plan here. Alright, there's a Relic. So we're just going to crack this right away. Just to Oh, I guess it's too late for that. They still get the Ascension triggers. Yeah. Oh well. Alright, so I guess we should have saved that then for when they dump some Phoenixes. Because that's definitely a way that we lose this game. But I'm not going to lie, I feel pretty secure with this Settle the Wreckage in hand. I guess this Damping Sphere pretty much has no text at this point, but that's okay. I'm not going to cast this Titan here just because, again, I feel like the way we lose this game is making one dumb mistake, and I don't think we need to do that right now. Also, it has nothing to value back out of our graveyard, so Crackling Drake. Okay. Okay, so we can't cast the Verdict. The only way we'll get to cast it is if we draw a way to get rid of this Blood Moon. Alright, so we'll just settle your Wreckage here in here at 1 second, so there you go. Okay, so that was a pretty long and protracted game, but I think we would have won that one regardless. I think I believe we were in a really commanding position. Okay, I guess I can't draw any more cards, but I think this is a fairly good matchup for us. I know our opponent had the Blood Moon to shut off our Emeria. Whether that's, I don't know, I guess it's a perfectly reasonable card to bring in this matchup. So this deck is a little more basic land light than I would have thought they would be, but I guess it makes sense when they're playing like 1 to 2, maybe even up to 3 Crackling Drakes, depending on the build. So, I will also say that this is a very exciting moment. So this was, I know, but this was my first 4-0 with a deck in a league ever, so that feels pretty good. This deck actually felt really strong. I know I mentioned at the beginning, I know we did play against a lot of fair decks, but it definitely, I mean, this deck just seems like it walks all over any deck that's trying to like take the game past turn 4. This is great, and I feel like even against the control decks, you have a bit more inevitability. That being said, it would have been, not that I would wish this on myself or anyone, even my greatest enemy for that matter. It would have been interesting to play against Tron in this league, because I would really like to see how this deck fares. But I think that between the 4 Field of Ruins, the Ghost Quarter, plus the Crucible of Worlds, plus Spreading Seas, and then in the sideboard you have 5 counterspells that all hit the big pieces from Tron. I mean, I think you would have been okay. You would have been okay there. Let's just take a quick look here at the deck for some more closing thoughts. But yeah, shout out to Mr. Oren here. I know he still puts out content on his channel as well. I'll put a link in the description of this video, I guess, for additional blue-white Titan matchups if you want to see that. So thank you, Oren, for the list. I had a lot of fun with the deck. It was super cool. I loved the interactions between like the Flickerwisps and all these value creatures and value permanents. Flickerwisp is a really interesting card. It opens up a lot of different lines of play to the deck. Again, we used it in that first match against the Phoenix deck to keep them off of their thing in the ice, you know, and resetting the counters on the Pyromancer's Ascension. It wasn't that effective, but hey, I mean, it forced them to not get additional copies of 2 extra spells, and I know we did end up losing the first match anyway. but yeah, I mean, the deck was a blast to play. If you liked the mid-range type archetype and those matches that I was producing last couple weeks ago, if you enjoyed those, I mean, take this for a spin. This is really cool. I know I mentioned in the deck tech that I was worried a little bit between the Incidental Graveyard Hate and the Emeria interaction. Excuse me, but that didn't even come up. I mean, yeah, we got the only deck that attempted to interact with our land engine at all was the blue-white control deck in the form of Field of Ruin, and the blue-red Phoenix deck with their Blood Moons. But even still, I mean, that's not that scary. I really don't think Blood Moon is super great against this deck. I mean, in the other match, in the post-board games, we boarded out our Jace anyway, which we didn't even cast Jace in the league, but I'm sure this could be just about anything else you would want in that slot too. But I mean, yeah, it just felt really good. And I think that obviously we're not on the Terminus plan with this deck, but I think that when you're playing cards like Wall of Omens and Lone Missionary, you're going to get to these turns where you can eventually cast these traditional 4-mana rats anyway. And so that's something that again the blue-white mid-range archetype also kind of leans on, playing the Wall of Omens and I think they run a 5th 1-mana white removal spell and things like that. You know, these cards definitely still have play. And I wonder if playing the Miracles build, at least for me, it just felt a little clunky. Felt like there was a higher degree of variance despite all the additional cantrips they played. Just because, again, just about every match in Modern, I think, other than the Titan matchup that I think we played. Because what did we play this league? We played Elves, we played Death Shadow, we played blue-white control. Okay, so blue-white control in the combo deck, like not so much, but just about every other match just came down to, can you cast Supreme Verdict on turn 4? And I think that's just kind of where Modern is as a format right now. Another deck I'm not sure how well this deck would put up a fight against would be Storm. So I feel like we had maybe a decent matchup against the Amulet Titan deck, because I think that Path to Exile is a bit more relevant against them, and also this land destruction kind of sub-package we have here also messes with them a bit, although Spreading Seas is pretty bad against their bounce lands. So there's that, but I think that Blue-Red Storm would be problematic, because, I mean, yeah, we can slow them down with Damping Sphere, we can bring in Disdainful Stroke for Gifts Ungiven, and Past in Flames, and then we have 3 negates, but beyond that, I mean, this is just a speed bump. You know, they just go until they find their bounce thing, their Echoing Truth, or their Set Adrift, or whatever it is that they play, their bounce spell, de jour, I suppose. Then they put that back into our hand, and they just go off. But that being said, we do have a lot of play against the Empty the Warrens plan with the Sweepers and the Detention Spheres, and so if we can just avoid getting grape shotted to death, then I think this deck probably has some play there too. And I know that it's more academic than not eventually, but I mean, I guess theoretically, if you got into a draw where you drew enough Lone Missionaries, you could potentially play and replay them to get out of range of Grape Shot. Maybe, I don't know. But I think maybe the deck does have. Now that I'm kind of talking myself into maybe thinking the deck has a little more play there than I originally would have thought. So. Specific to the last matchup we played, I'm not sure whether this deck typically plays Pyromancer's Ascension or not, or whether that's like a little bit of extra spice. But that's a crazy good card. Unfortunately, it does kind of double down on the graveyard plan. So if your deck's already kind of, and their deck isn't 100% graveyard reliant. I mean, come on, Crackling Drake in that last game, if we didn't have I forget how they had at one point they had like a 23-4 Crackling Drake on the battlefield. You know, if we didn't have a spell in hand to deal with that, we would have just been dead on the spot. You know, so it's a very interesting deck for sure. And that, of course, also is Crackling Drake is also cards in exile. So keep that in mind. Your Rest in Peace or whatever is useless against that Drake, because for whatever reason it needed to have that in exile clause on it. But I think it's probably what allows it to see play in Modern. Also, I did this twice in the league, accidentally Spreading Seas my own island. Fortunately, it was only an island, and it didn't really cost us anything at the time, and the Spreading Seas targets that I was even trying to target weren't extremely vital. I don't think, if I remember correctly. But this card's weird. Careful when you tap with this. I'm sure I'll do it again in the future. And speaking of the future, I definitely think we'll run this deck again. Again, it was a blast to play, and not only that, it took me to my first ever 4-1 finish. So whether that was a result of the matchup lottery or whether I'm getting a little bit better as a player, I'm not sure what to chalk it up to. But hey, 2019 is off to a great start, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. And I hope that maybe it'll inspire you to play the deck. And like I said, if you want more Blue-White Titan action, head over to Mr. Oren's channel. Link will be down there below, and you can get your fill there. I know he's got several leagues recorded over there, and I enjoyed watching him play through the deck as well, and listening to his thought processes. He's a pretty good player, so you can go over there and learn something from him too. Final thoughts. So I want to try something new here. So at the end, at the wrap-up segment video, or whatever here, I would like to have your community input on what deck we should play next week. Because again, typically how this works is I record on Saturday and Sunday, because that's when I have time. I can sit down and knock out a league, get it, and then I kind of send them out to you guys over the course of the week. That's my ideal release schedule, so to speak. And as of right now, if I don't get any input, I'll probably just play. I might just play this deck again. Maybe tweak it a little bit. I think I'll take the Jace out, and maybe just put something else in there. But let me know. Let me know what you want to do. I guess I don't really have like decks that you can vote between or something like that. So I don't know. If you got a really sweet, really spicy deck that's in blue-white and Esper, something like that. Post it below, and if it really catches my eye and it's awesome, and I have the cards in my collection, I'll run it through the league. So you could see your deck of choice ran through the league for next week if you so wish. Again, I'm looking for some input here from you all. So yeah, let me know what you want to see. I want to produce the kind of content that the viewers, that the regulars on my channel would like to see. So help me out there a little bit, and I'll get some more sweet blue-white action heading out your way soon. So, all right, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging in there. I know I can be a bit long-winded, but yeah, starting off 2019 on the right foot here, and yeah, I hope to see you all next time. So, thanks again for watching, and take care.